Hello there, and welcome to another album review of The Shield Doing a Couch. I'm your host, Hector, and tonight we're going to talk about the brand new album by the band Revocation. It's called Neatherheaven, and this is the follow up to 2018's The Outer Ones. So, that album was more rooted in outer space, and this one is more rooted in the underworld. Basically, the album has 9 songs, and the concept is about reaching the 9 rings of hell and facing Lucifer at the end. So it's very evil sounding. The band self produced this album, and I'm very impressed with the production of this album. Dave Davidson, who's the vocalist and the guitar player, took that under his wing, and he's also the engineer for this album. I read that when COVID hit, he took up more engineering, so he said, I'm going to produce this album, and that's what he did. So this album is 9 tracks, 44 minutes in length, and I can tell you right away that there's no skippable tracks. Every track on this is great, and I want to talk a little bit about the tracks and what I thought of them. The album starts with the song Diabolical Majesty, and that song was inspired by Church of Satan that they were trying to, put the Baphomet statue. So that inspired that song. And Diabolical Majesty was the first single that they released out of the album. And I think it's a great first single to have been released, because it's has some great riffing, great blast beat drummings. Dave sounds great in it. And if you haven't seen the music video, yeah, they did it in an abandoned church with some skateboarders, and it just kicks ass. And I think this song really kicks off the album on a very high note. And every song, even though it's not like a full concept, like a story, follows like some, everything is very evil. For example, Lessons in Occult Theft, which is the second song, and it's a great death metal tune with more great guitar riffing. But lyrically, it's about someone playing with a Ouija board and being possessed by a demon. So, evil shit. But I can say that it's a really great track. And then Nihilistic Violence, which is the third song on the album, and they also released a video for that one. It's one of the highlights of the album for me. That track is just pummeling all the way through. It has some great guitar solos by Dave. He's great in this album. He's just the sole guitar player. They went back to being a 3 piece, so he takes all the guitar duties himself. And there's a part in the song where it has more thrash metal riffing because Revocation, even though it's a death metal band, they have done a little bit of thrash in their previous albums in the past. So, and I think it gives that song like a different flavor. Uh, but then the track is, it's just a track that I could imagine like being in a mosh pit and just going wild. It's so good. But something else that Revocation does is they do bring some prog elements into their band because they're very technical band, but they're technical in a sense that it's not obscura. Or like alkaloid that goes all over the place. They're technical but accessible at the same time. And the next songs on this album, especially Strange and Eternal and Galleries of Morbid Artistry, are the 2 songs that have most of the progier elements on the songs. For example, on Galleries of Morbid Artistry, like in the middle of the song, it goes down and it has some like different like progier elements to it, different styles that I think make the song great. Then they go into a song called the Ninth Chasm, and that's an instrumental track. And when I was listening to the track, it's the soundtrack that I would imagine would be playing when the gates of hell are opening. That good. Then they have more great songs like God Forsaken, The Intervening Abyss of Untold Aeons. Just awesome tracks. And the album ends with what I would say would be the highlight. It's the song Recrucified that featured Trevor Strand from the Black Dahlia Murder and George Corpse Grinder from Cannibal Corpse. And this song, they released as a single, which was surprising because I didn't know if they would want to release that as a single and maybe keep it a surprise for album release, but no. But it's very powerful song. It's the last vocals we got from Trevor, who tragically died, and his vocals. I always like Trevor's vocals because they're more high pitch death metal, so it goes well with Dave's vocals and with George Corpse Grinder, who has more of a growlier type of death metal vocals, like the Cannibal Corpse. And I think that song, all three of them gel great together in the music. It sounds very great, and it's a very fast song that ends the album on a high note. So, in conclusion, to me, this is an album that it's there's no bad tracks, no skippable tracks. I honestly sit here and say to you that this is probably the best death metal album of the year. Uh, I don't know if something's going to top it, but it's going to be very hard. I could try to nitpick, but there wasn't anything that I didn't like about this album. It has great solos. The bass sounds great. The drumming is great. The lyrics are so evil and like just amazing that at the end, when I stopped listening to it, I thought I need to like bathe myself in some holy water because it's just so evil. So uh, I recommend this album fully. So comment, what are your favorite tracks? Uh, what did you think about this album by Revocation? I would really want to know. But before I go, this Friday had so many albums that I want to give shout outs to two albums that came out that I have not the time to fully review. And that's the first album would be Fallujah with Empyrean, and that's a great technical death metal. They're a band from San Francisco. They've been through some lineup changes, and this album is just great. So check it out. And the other album that I want to talk about is Morphide, and the album is called Anhedonia, and this is their first album release. They're a band from Latvia, and they play more modern metal. Think of like a Ginger mixed with some Deftones and some other modern bands. Pretty cool debut, so check it out as well. So I want to thank you, for taking the time to seeing this review. If you like the videos I'm putting out, don't forget to give me a like and don't forget to subscribe. I have more content on the way. So until next time, this is Hector, the Shield on a Couch, and I'll see you right here on the couch. Thank you and good night.